Some years ago, the then Vice President of the USA, Joe Biden, landed in Turkey. However, before he could get out of the plane, a few things had to happen. He only got out when everything was right. If you interpret this scenario symbolically on the basis of Joe Biden's initials, BJ, which can be read as before Jesus, you could say that everything had to be just right before the arrival of Jesus. Another Democratic politician, the ex-President Bill Clinton, has initials which can similarly be interpreted as before Christ, and which give rise to the thought that there were necessary steps to smooth the way for Jesus. Let's carry on with simple codes. Important letters from the names of the ex and current First Lady reveal something about this code. In concrete terms, Hillary, Michelle, and Jill, these so motherly politicians' wives, all have double L in their first names. For me, the double L represents love. It's exactly this love that's an important aspect in repairing what Republican governments destroy again and again. As always after a U.S. election, when the Democrats win, there's a gentle harmony perceptible not only in America, but all over the world. The power of the politicians whose codes play a role in this film is essential. If we want to uphold the soul of the world, we should give harmony more of a chance than destruction, as is the case with the Republicans. Furthermore, John Kerry should not remain unmentioned. John Forbes Kerry has the same initials as John F. Kennedy. This too shows he not only has a model for a good politician, named JFK, but also has been elected in the team of Democrats to help billions of people. As is shown in the film, here too, a higher might is working through him that is intended to provide people with hope and consolidation. Let's get to the next distinguished personality, Barack Hussein Obama. To begin with, what's fascinating about Barack Obama was that he took the office over from George Bush, under whom trust in Islam had reached a low point. However, the orthographic echoes in his name communicated that the USA was not at war with Islam, despite the war against terror. In addition to the Hussein part of his name, which made you think of Saddam Hussein, and Obama, similar to Osama, a Sufi term can be derived from his first name, Barak, and that is Baraka, which more or less translates to blessing or strength. Sufism is a mystical stream of Islam. An old Sufi story says that an important personality from Sufism received Baraka from Hussein, who appeared to him in a dream. At the subjective level of the Alevi Kurdish producer and director of this film, Bahtiyar Atman, whose civil name is Hussein, but who gave himself the name Bahtiyar as a writer. The first two letters of these first two names result in the letter sequence Huba. A place which can give strength back to Bahtiyar is the district of his hometown, Dorbeern, Oberdorf. Adding its two beginning letters to those of both first names results in Hubaob. The compiler of this work has no doubt that for him, Baraka, in other words, blessing and strength, come from Barak, Hussein, Obama, and he would like to pass it on to those who do not misuse it, but rather help people. The meaning of the successor of Barack Obama, Donald Trump, who was no Democrat but a Republican, also deserves a closer looking at as regards the meaning of his work. The name Trump spontaneously awakens the following association: the trumpets from the apocalypse in John's book of Revelation. Trump was the 45th president of the United States, and World War II ended in 45, and thus the war in the USA had also symbolically come to an end after he had been voted out of office. The last of the 5 books of Moses in the Bible is known as Deuteronomy, which means back to the first. You could also say back to the promised land. And in fact, Barack Obama named his book A Promised Land. In this context, what stands out is that the last 5 books of the Bible, Deuteronomy, which also begin with the beginning letter D, as in the first name Donald, then the 2 letters EU for the European Union follow, and finally T for Trump. The letter sequence DEUT, again, stands for the beginning letters from Deuteronomy with the meaning back to the promised land. Joe Biden is making an intense effort for the reconstruction with the EU, and also for American relations to the EU to be strengthened anew. So his initials, which stood for Before Jesus at the beginning of the film, now stand for the return to the symbolic Promised Land. Finally, the meaning of the name of the newly elected American Vice President, Kamala Harris, should be illuminated. In Sufism, as in Hebrew, only the consonants are written. JHWH in Hebrew is a known example. An example from Sufism is KLD. As the name Kamala Harris contains the letter KHL, it's worth mentioning that the Sufi terms khuld and khalid can be formed from this set of letters, which on the one hand stand for to be spiritually blind, or also to deny something, and on the other hand for to perpetuate something. In the Bible, more precisely in the Apocalypse, it is written, "Your eye is not to see the worst," which corresponds to be spiritually blind. The simple individual among peoples is not to see what has happened through the transition or war between the Republicans and Democrats. On the other hand, you can read the meaning to perpetuate something from the set of letters. It's always when the Democrats win that this positive power is perceptible worldwide. Wouldn't it be good if the American people only gave their confidence to the Democrats in elections in the future? Or even, wouldn't it be good if Kamala Harris perpetuates the Democrats' dream of success? Let's just put our trust in these really likable politicians in the future.